Good morning, everyone, dear chairpersons, dear speakers, dear audience. Our talk today is about how to implement the national HCC screening program. First of all, it's my pleasure to be with you in this session. Next, please. This is our agenda today. We'll start with what is surveillance. Surveillance is a periodic application of a diagnostic test to individuals at specific risk of developing a given disease. Our aim is to make a reduction to the disease-related mortality. As you know, as HCC is a major healthcare problem. It's according to GloboCan 2020, it's the most frequent cause of cancer-related deaths globally. As you can see, in 2020, according to WHO, HCC still incidence is higher, and if we can look to Egypt, for example, we will see that these incidence rates are still high in Egypt. According to mortality, there is a changing pattern of mortality due to HCC worldwide. In North America, Australia, we found that there is a higher levels of mortality due to HCC, and it's mostly due to NASH, silent epidemic. And in other countries, there is a decreasing pattern. It's mostly due to the control campaigns for viral hepatitis worldwide to achieve the WHO elimination strategy by 2030. There are many risk factors for HCC, such as alcohol abuse, viral hepatitis, and other causes. And in our region, in Emre region, it's still viral hepatitis takes the lead as a major risk factor for HCC. To prevent HCC, we have three pillars. Primary prevention is to prevent exposure to cancer predisposing factor, and secondary and tertiary prevention for early detection for HCC occurrence and recurrence after radical treatment. And the second and third tertiary are our main goals in surveillance program. Of course, there are some recommendations we can use to make a primary prevention for HCC, such as vaccination against hepatitis B, prevent the transmission for viral hepatitis, promote healthy lifestyle to decrease the incidence rate of NAFLD or MAFLD, and to supply the antiviral therapy either to maintain viral suppression in HPV or SVR and HCC. Why surveillance is important? HCC is a silent disease. And so according to the study, in early stages, if I succeeded to diagnose a patient in early stages, the 5-year survival is about 40 to 70%. But if it is discovered in late stages, this percentage dropped to less than 5%, with only 20% patients that fulfill resection and curative options. So incidence of HCC is higher in patients with advanced cirrhosis, and the probability of receiving effective therapy is lower in these patients. And according to the study, the frequent testing improves survival by 37%, and it is overall reducing morbidity, mortality, and financial burden on healthcare system. According to this study, which make a comparison between a group who has done underwent a surveillance program versus a historical group, we found that most of patients in surveillance program discovered earlier, most of them in stage 1, but there is 0% of patients who has been discovered in stage 1 in control group. And this, of course, makes that the treatment decision is harder in the control group. What about challenges confronting the implementation of a national HCC program? It all deals with 3 questions: who to be screened, and how to be screened, and how much. Some people or some healthcare systems are asking, does it work? So we'll begin with who should be screened. If we make a comparison between the most commonly used guidelines, ESN and ASLD, we found that they are a little bit the same. It's recommended to screen cirrhotic patients, child A and B, and child C if it's waiting liver transplantation. Child non-cirrhotic HPV patients at risk of HCC, we had used HB criteria for assessment, and non-cirrhotic F3 patients based on individual risk assessment. and the role of screening for NAFLD patients without cirrhosis unclear. SLD is a little bit the same. It recommends screening for child A and B and C waiting liver transplantation, and also it has no recommendation to screen NAFLD patient without cirrhosis. So which tool should be used? Easier tools, affordable tools, less costly tools are the best. First of all, ultrasound is routinely used for HCC, but it has some limitations. So it's recommended to augment ultrasound with another HCC biomarker. Ultrasound alone can have a sensitivity in early stages about 45%. It tries to be 63% when combined with alpha-fetoprotein. And what about the new biomarkers? As you know, there is a new novel biomarkers are being developed and under studies. Some of them has been validated, such as alpha-fetoprotein L3 and the DCP. And so we make try to make a combined diagnostic models to enhance our accuracy and easily of detection of malignancies, such as GAD score, which rely on gender, age, alpha-fetoprotein, and DCP, and is further preceded by GALAD to use alpha-protein L3 and DCP, and then it's augmented by ultrasound in GALAD's diagnostic model. It has been under studies all over the world with good results, and it's began to be included in the international guidelines. Till now, in EASL guidelines, ultrasound is the main method of choice, and according to EASL, is ultrasound with or without alpha-fetoprotein, but in the guidelines of APASL, it's recommended to add some biomarkers such as DCP or alpha-fetoprotein L3, and Japanese guidelines, it started, and Chinese started to use it as well. According to how much and does it cost, according to cost-effective studies for surveillance program in both EASL and SLD, they recommend the decision to enter a surveillance program for a patient has many pillars. We have to take an account of patient age, overall health, functional status, and willingness and the ability to comply with surveillance program. According to the studies, it has been concluded that cost effectiveness is beneficial if the incidence rate is 1.5% per year or greater. For HPV non-cirrhotics, surveillance should be warranted if incidence is at least 0.2% per year. And therefore, international guidelines recommend implementation of screening program as a part of health systems in order to decrease mortality and early detection of disease. We will make an overview about HCC in Egypt and the national HCC program for detection of HCC. As an example for a program for detection of HCC, in Egypt, according to Globocan, HCC is the highest malignancy in post-incidence and the mortality. And according to the WHO national strategy and goal by viral hepatitis 2030, Egypt started an ambitious plan to eliminate HCV, which is one of the most infectious diseases in Egypt. Egypt was known to be one of the highest countries of HCC prevalence. And as you know, to have an elimination for viral hepatitis, it's a multi-pillar strategy. One of them is to make a support of chronic care patients according to WHO Global Health Strategy, and which includes to make a care of management of T-compensated liver disease and hepatocellular carcinoma. Egyptian program passed through many stages, starting from 2006, ending by the national mass screening campaign at 2018, which succeeded in screening more than 49 million, and to detect that the HCV prevalence is decreasing. Would this program and mass treatment of patients change the magnitude of HCC dilemma in Egypt? Yes, according to predictive studies, if one of them was done in 2016, and it was concluded that if we make 1 million cases treatment, the incidence will be decreased by 2025, and we have managed more than 1 million cases starting from 2010, and so I hope that we are on good track. What about the Egyptian National Program for Early Detection of HCC? It started in September 2019 in viral hepatitis treatment centers. All patients diagnosed with cirrhosis whatever the cause of cirrhosis, are offered a free visit every 4 months, where abdominal ultrasound and alpha-fetoprotein are used to screen for HCC. Suspected cases are referred to specific centers for dynamic imaging and treatment if needed. Of course, it will be accompanied by a strong database system, starting with first by a closed network system of DPN using dynamic CRM, and now it was shifted to a cloud server database. The pictures for our database with a unique identifier, we can make a query for the patient. Every details in the patient log can be shown, and electronic referral for treatment center and diagnostic centers can be done through the system, and all of that help us in detecting the patient's activity and the patient history in order to minimize any costs and easily catch up any information. What are the take-home messages? Frequent testing will reduce overall morbidity, mortality, and financial burden on the healthcare systems. Studies conclude that HCC surveillance is cost-effective and should be implemented in healthcare systems. Strong database is recommended to support the national programs in both fields of decision-making and research. It's important to tailor your program based on the incidence of target disease in your population, availability and costs of efficient diagnostic tests, and accessibility of target population, and how to influence them to be in the program. And thank you.